Really, I'm not bragging. This is confession time. I'm holding my hand up. It's true confession. For the first time in 33 years of ministry, 30 years of married ministry, Chris and I took a sabbatical.
That's right.
And we took a month off, almost 5 weeks off in August, and it was tremendous. So we're going to kind of be talking about life lessons learned.
I love it.
On sabbatical.
I love it.
Welcome, podcast world. Welcome to the RETURN HUPErcast. We took the summer off, but we're back. Fall is here. We're falling forward. So we are back. We're so glad that you joined us. Please subscribe to wherever you listen to podcasts. Share this. We're going to have some great conversations. Tonight, it looks like I'm flying solo, but I am not. I have the infamous, the one and only. Some people say son-in-law. Some people say son-in-love. I just say son.
Son-in-love is kind of weird.
I agree. I when people say that, it just sounds weird to me, especially when a guy says it. It seems odd to me. Yeah. So I say son. He's my son. But he is my son by marriage, not by birth. He married my youngest, Ashton. So Sam, everybody give it up for Sam.
What's up?
Great to have you, Sam.
So glad to be here.
We're so glad. So glad. His voice is so mellow. It's so soothing. So soothing.
Just try to keep it smooth.
Yeah, smooth like jazz. Easy like Sunday morning. All the things. We're going to have a great time tonight. We are talking about, we're going to enter into a new series, Sam. And for those of you that kind of know our world, know that Chris and I in August took for the first time, I'm not bragging. This is confession time. I'm holding my hand up. It's true confession. For the first time in 33 years of ministry, 30 years of married ministry, Chris and I took a sabbatical.
That's right.
And we took a month off, almost 5 weeks off in August, and it was tremendous. So we're going to kind of be talking about life lessons learned.
I love it.
On sabbatical.
I love it.
So we're going to have some guests join us. We're going to have some friends come on, be with us as well. Tonight it's me and Sam. Sam I am. We are just doing this together. So I'm just going to kind of share. Yes, I am. I am Sam. So I'm just going to share some things, and tonight will kind of be an intro. And I want, obviously, Sam to join in the conversation. I want you to join in the conversation. If you're watching this on Facebook Live or wherever, if it's where you can comment, chat, do that. If you're listening to it by podcast, send us something. Tell us what you think. Tell us some of the things that God's saying to you about it. But one of the things that kind of hit me, Sam, is, and there's so many things we learned. I mean, it was very transformational to slow down for that length of time. I'd never done that. If anybody knows me, I don't let a lot of grass grow under my feet. I've flown 1.4 million air miles with American and One World partners alone, plus a few 100,000 with other people. I usually fly anywhere from 150 to 250,000 miles a year. I was flying 200 to 250,000 miles a year every year. We planted the church, and I slowed down to 100 to 150,000. That was my slowing down. So it gave us some time to reflect. We had what's called a directed sabbatical. So we weren't on 4-week vacation. We had a very directed every week, things we were working on, etc. And one of the things that hit me was this concept of learning the difference. And we read several books. We went through several exercises. I don't think this was in any of the books that I read or anything. It just in my devotion time, I think. Now, I say that, and then Chris will go, oh, that was in such and such book. So maybe it was, but I don't remember reading it. But I do remember the Lord speaking to me about learning the difference between working for and working on. Working for and working on. So we spend most of our time working for. We work for a paycheck. We work for our company. We work for our boss. We work for other people. We work for retirement. Right. We work for the church. We work for God. But how much time do we create? How much space do we create in our life to learn to work on some things? Mm. And if we're always busy working for, how do we have time to work on?
Yeah.
The way that you said, what are you talking about? So like work on our soul, work on our emotional health, work on our physical health, work on our marriage.
Come on.
Work on our friendships. Work on our issues. Yikes. Think of it like this. Any golfers, if there's any golfers out there in podcast world, I play a little bit of golf. If you can imagine a golfer is working for the prize of winning the Masters. So he's putting for, he's in the tournament. He's going for the prize. He's trying to win first, whatever, maybe make the top 10, maybe make the cut, whatever it is. He's working for a goal. Nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with working for God. There's nothing wrong with working. If you don't work for your boss, you're not going to have a boss. But it's proportion. So he's working for the prize, and his putting fails. And all of a sudden in this tournament, he can't putt. He's got to leave that event and go work on his putting, or what's going to happen?
He's not going to be able to work for anything.
He's not going to ever win the prize of what he's working for because his putting failed. So if he just thinks, it's a glitch, I'll get over it, goes back to the next tournament, he's so busy working for. You can't work on something while you're working for something.
That's good.
So we have to have time to work for some things, but we've also got to take the time to work on some things. So what he's going to do is he's going to go back to working on his putting, and then he'll get back to have the opportunity to work for that prize. Talk to me about that for a second, Sam. What does that speak to you?
Yeah, it reminds me of I played basketball in high school, and that analogy of the golfer reminds me a lot of what we as really any athlete experiences. If you're always playing, there's an element of experience that you gain when you're working for things, but man, if you never practice, if you never show up to practice, you're not going to be prepared for that. And when that's one of those life lessons you learn from playing sports, is that there's a time to go for the gold, and then there's a time to prepare. There's a time to invest in your free throw shooting. There's a time to get back to the basics.
Yes.
Right? A lot of times it's the basics that we neglect. We don't practice our layups, and then in the game,
under pressure, the fundamentals can break down. And so no matter how much you've done a layup, professional basketball players, they've done layups. Well, most of them are going to dunk it. They're not going to do a layup unless they're, super short. But you get the idea. You've done the basics. Shoot a free throw, whatever. But when the pressure's on, the fundamentals break down unless you've been working on them. So when you were in first grade learning how to do layups, you didn't realize that in high school, if you play college all the way through, that's a fundamental that you work on again and again and again. And I think like with our emotional health, with our physical health, I go to the gym one time. That doesn't mean I never have to go back again.
Right.
Just because I worked, I worked out. When? Like 5 years ago, I worked on that. I know how to do that. I know how to work out. Our emotional health, I know I need to forgive. It's fundamental to Christianity. I know, but then people abuse me and I have to work on forgiveness.
Right.
I want to have healthy relationships. You can't have healthy relationships without having forgiveness as a part of it. So we've got to learn to work on. So part of that is slowing down enough to work on the basics. That's some of what we're going to be talking about in these next few episodes. Is we're going to be talking about how do we slow down our spirituality? How do we slow down our life? You could say it this way: creating margin. This book. It's an amazing book called Hooperman.
Who wrote that book?
Transforming to a Life Beyond Limits, by yours truly.
Somebody amazing, I've heard.
Yes, with a lot of help from Chris White. A lot of help.
That's who I was talking about.
Yes, she really put pen to all my thoughts. So this book, Hooperman, which if you don't have, you can get it on Amazon, all the places. I don't know if you can see this because the camera's kind of far away, but in every book, the spaces on the edge is called what? What do you call that, Sam?
It's called margin.
Margin. If this book had no margin, you wouldn't be able to read it. If there was no space around the edges, you wouldn't be able to, it wouldn't be legible. And so it could have the most amazing content, but if it doesn't have any margin, you're not going to be able to understand the content that's written there. And our lives are a book that's being read. Paul said, my life is an epistle. Our lives are being read by those around us. But if we don't have any margin, if we don't have any space in our life, then our lives become illegible. And it doesn't matter how great a content we have on the inside of us, it's not actually legible to those around us. So we could switch metaphors. You're a musician. It's the space between the notes, one man said, that takes noise and makes it music.
Yeah.
You play lots of instruments, but if you think about the keyboard, if you don't put any space between any of those notes, you just run your hand up, bang on them insatiably. It's just noise.
It's called, what that's called in music is dissonance.
Yes.
When there's two notes right next to each other and you're playing them, it's called dissonance.
You've got to have dissonance. Thank you. I've heard that word. Couldn't have told you what it meant.
Well, actually, it's dissonance is when they're too close together.
Oh,
when
too
there's
close
no
together.
Space.
Okay.
Harmony is when they're spaced apart. So when two notes are right next to each other, or several notes are right next to each other, that's like intense dissonance. It's a lot of dissonance. But if you spread them out, give them space.
You didn't leave enough space. I got you. And so we want harmony.
That's right.
Obviously.
You need harmony.
We don't want dissonance. And the timing of the rhythm of how you play the notes. Not only playing the notes spaced out, but playing them in a rhythm and a cadence that allows the music to come alive, right?
Yes.
Whereas it's not just noise. Paul said, if you don't have love creates space in our relationship to live, to breathe, to forgive. If we don't have that, we're just noise.
Yeah.
So one of the things that and we can kind of finish up with this thought. We're going to talk about how to create space in the weeks to come. We're going to talk about sabbatical. We're going to talk about solitude. We're going to talk. If you've been hearing me preach on Sundays in soul care, we've touched on some of these ideas, but we're going to unpack them a little bit deeper. One of the things is thinking about again, we're switching lots of metaphors here to help this sink in. What kind of wheel are you on? If you say, what do you mean? What kind of wheel am I on? You're either on the potter's wheel or you're on a hamster wheel.
That one hits.
And so much of life in Western, even Christianity, is filled with running the rat race, running on the hamster wheel. And God's trying to put us on his potter's wheel.
Yeah.
What are some of the difference? Well, a hamster wheel, the machine of life, it keeps running or performing all the time. You got to be on. Man, you got to be on. Perform, 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 perform. It actually wears you out. It's looking for or it's seduced by, maybe is a better way to put it, distraction. So it's just keeping you going. You're on that wheel, a performance wheel of success wheel. You're going to the next thing, the next achievement. You're working for the next goal, the next bonus, the next paycheck, the next rush, the next adrenaline, the next accolade, the next award. You're seduced by it. Keep trying harder, striving more, never enough, never can measure up, working for, not on. You're working and God is still. You're making noise and God is quiet. God is silent. You're talking, God's only listening. Always moving, busy, but no real progress. You choose the speed. Think about it. If you're on a hamster wheel, the hamster determines how fast it's going. And the faster, the funner, right? That's why that hamster, he's just running as fast as he can because, hey, that's what we do. But you're actually really going nowhere. And we're self-focused, proving that I can make it. I don't know about you, but when you say it like that, that is not very appealing.
Yeah.
However, how many of us find ourselves living like that?
Yeah.
So here's the potter's wheel. Instead of always running, performing, we stop and come face to face with the potter. We're in his hands. Life's in his hands, not our hands. We're being reshaped rather than just running. It's about transformation, not accomplishment or achievement. Jack Hayford said the price of greatness is the ability or the willingness to be reshaped. Let that sink in for a second. The price of greatness is not achievement. The price of greatness is the willingness to be reshaped. You trust the maker. You rest. You slow down. You're unhurried. You understand Sabbath. There's a fitting in a new yoke. And remember in the other one, I'm working and he's still. I'm talking and he's silent. In this one, I'm still and he's working.
Yeah.
The clay does not say to the potter, here, let me do this. I got this. Right?
Right. Yeah.
The clay is just there. Surrendered, yielded, transformed. But watch this. Remember in the other one, you're always moving and you set the pace. Who sets the pace on the potter's wheel?
The potter.
The potter. You're
Yeah.
in his hands. You're in his timing. And you move at his pace, so you live by rhythm. I've watched potters, and they get that wheel going really fast at certain times, and then they'll slow it way down.
Yeah.
And depending on what they're trying to make out of your life, and then you become in on the potter's wheel, you become indifferent to your surroundings, and you're very cognizant and aware of the touch of the master.
That's good.
I know that sounds cliche, but how many times in life am I so busy that I'm not cognizant or aware? I'm so in touch with my surroundings and my circumstances. I'm out of touch with the touch of the master. I'm using that on purpose. I'm out of touch with the touch. I'm not allowing God's hand. Try to catch a hamster on a wheel. It's not easy. I believe that part of what the Lord is saying to all of us is we need to slow down. We need to work on some things. We need to create some space, and the reward will be worth the requirements.
Yeah.
God never requires anything of us that he doesn't give us tremendous reward to go with it. And the reward of transformation in our lives will be well worth it.
Yeah.
So I'm excited, Sam.
Me too.
I'm
It's
excited.
really good.
I'm excited about this journey that we're going to go on. This is kind of an introduction. It's a step one. It's getting us thinking. Get on this journey with us. The next several weeks, I don't know how many weeks we're going to go on this. We're going to have some great guests. We're going to have some great conversations. We're going to challenge our thinking. We're going to make some commitments to readjust not only the way we think, but the way we live. I have radically changed the priorities of my life. I mean, I'm going to share some of our journey, but you would not believe how much we've allowed God to reshape the way we live our lives. And I trust it'll help you do the same. Whether you're a CEO of a major company or a single mom trying to raise your children, or you could be a CEO who is a single mom trying to, just make it through life. We believe we're going to give you some principles that'll help you live that Hooper life beyond what you could imagine. Yeah. Well, listen, we love you. And we're so glad that you came to join us. I think we need our exit music to go out on. We love that. This will just set the tone for the rest of your week. Have a great week. Thanks for joining us. Sam, let's tell them we love you.
I love you.
And there's nothing you can do about it. Have a great week.